So I actually thought it would have waited until until it was supposed to go live, but okay. So welcome to the 100th episode of Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet, and it happens to be a Pat Chat edition. So we're having a Pat Chat edition. You guys had asked me if we could have a Pat Chat a video, and so here we go. We're having a Pat Chat video. Why does it look?
I'd say everything is fine, I think.
Okay.
Well,
Sorry. This is what happens when you're live. It's like you have other things happening in the screen. You don't know what the heck's going on. Okay, so today we're talking about New Year's resolutions, goal setting, that ability to, plan your future. And so I know Patrick has some questions for me, but that's basically the topic for today. So happy that you guys are here with us. Excited that we're doing this live. Okay, so let's, what do we have?
We're going to monitor the chat section, so feel free to ask questions. At some point, we're going to interact with you guys. So
yes, hello, Wellness Warriors.
So
thanks for being here.
Yeah. So my first question is like, why New Year's resolutions? Actually, do you have why New Year's? Like, why? Do you have an idea where it comes from, or like? Well,
okay, first of all, I think making resolutions in the new year is probably just about the fact that there's something new starting. And whenever something is starting, you feel the need to like mark it, right? A new year, whether it's your birthday. A lot of people make resolutions at their birthday as well, so that they're going to like do something great when they're 35 or something, like this idea. Usually, and it's funny, 'cause usually it's a birthday that has a 5 or a 0 in it, where all of a sudden we feel like we have to change something. But I think the biggest thing is that when you go into a new year, all the things that might have been bothering you about the previous year, it looks like an opportunity to fix some things, change some things, improve some things. And so I think that's why people tend to make New Year's resolutions.
okay, and we're having this conversation this morning about the resolutions, like
Versus
we
goals.
even like with
Yeah.
versus goals. I have like little. Oh, Kim Cole.
Hi, Kim Cole.
Coley.
Hi.
So basically, a New Year's resolutions is tradition. So like they say here, I took that from Wikipedia. Most common in the Western Hemisphere, but also found in the Eastern Hemisphere, and in which a person resolves to change an undesired trait or behavior to accomplish a personal goal.
Okay, pretty much what I just said.
You want to change something. So I feel like in that sense, a resolution would be more like a general thing. Like,
Not necessarily.
Does it mean like it's not like precise?
No, not necessarily. People make all kinds of New Year's resolutions. I think, like I said, I think it's more about the fact that the year is turning over and you're just trying to make change, hopefully positive change. One of the things that frustrates me is that we are not using the word resolution in the way that it's supposed to be used. And so anybody who watches this show often understands that I'm really about words and what they mean. And so a resolution at all means that I'm resolving to do something, which means that as far as whether it happens or not, if I resolve that something is supposed to happen, that means it's supposed to happen. Unfortunately, how often do we see that someone will make a New Year's resolution? So January 1st, they'll make a resolution, and by February, whatever they resolved to have done isn't done, and they're acting like if they never made the resolution. And I feel like because we do this to ourselves, a lot of our goals end up... So if I don't respect a resolution, how am I going to respect my normal goals that I have for myself throughout the course of the year, right? Because a resolved goal is supposed to have more value, more weight to it than a normal goal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Like if you see me watch like down because I have my tablet here. So hi, Chrissy, Happy New Year.
Who's it?
Chrissy
Hi, Chrissy.
dancing. So
Happy New Year. Actually, I feel like there's more written there. Is there anything interesting?
she's just excited to live chat with us.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you here.
Excited too. Okay, so are you curious to see like what usually are the 10 of the most like resolutions people take?
I have a feeling I know one of them is weight loss. But
Okay, let's go. Let's go for what do you think like the first one is like
Weight
on
loss.
that list? Exercise most, like actually exercise.
Okay,
Exercise more.
Okay.
Weight loss is second, like on that list. Get better organized.
See, now
So
that's one I could see why people, because even myself, like I'm not the most organized person, so I could see why someone might resolve for that. I wouldn't personally do it because I know I'm not going to change that, but I could see where people might want to think that they can change this about themselves. I'm not even sure if that's something that you can actually change in terms of strategically. Like, how would I be more
more
organized?
organized. Yeah, but that brings the point
Lists?
between like resolutions and goals, where we're gonna get to goals like in a few minutes. But like, uh, you can see like resolutions are more like general ideas than specific. Like,
Not
it's like
necessarily.
not necessarily, but like from the like my top something, my top 10 list here.
Okay.
Like they're more like
But
general
even
stuff.
like lose
But
weight is not general. It's like it's just, that's a specific. Like if you weigh 200 and you're gonna like that's a specific. Like
yeah,
it's a
but
number.
we'll get to goals like in a second. In a second, learn a new skill or a hobby.
Sure.
So you
Okay.
want to start playing guitar? You want to start playing drums? Pam is not there.
And
Pam?
that could
Uh,
even be something like be just doing more fun things,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
maybe in my life I don't find my life is fun enough, and so I might
Learn
want the
something new.
goal of doing something new and
Do something
interesting.
new. Do
Yeah,
something new. Like just
I
go
like that
get
one
a
actually.
longboard and do do longboarding. It's very
Any
fun.
opportunities you bring up longboarding,
Yeah.
I'm up for that.
Yeah, for that way. Okay, that's like live life to the fullest. That's one of their
Again,
top.
but that's very broad. But
Yeah, it is, bro.
yeah,
It's
again
nothing.
about improving your life, about doing better in life. Yeah.
Save more money, spend less money. So money, I'm pretty sure money is coming like often like
Okay.
in people's quit smoking, like like
Again,
a quit vaping now, I guess also we could say, and
any
spend
drug.
any drug, yeah, drinking, no, spend more time with family and friends. So
Again, so
these are
a
the
lot of it,
top
so almost all of
top
them seem
10.
to be somehow about improving your life. Actually, when you
Yeah,
look at the top 10, it's
yeah,
all about improving your
but
life.
again, like if you look at the Wikipedia definition, is to change like something you want to change about yourself. So I have another like no comments. So look, guys, if you took some resolutions for 2020, what are they?
Yeah, what are your
Just like
resolutions? I'm
put
actually
them in the
curious to know.
comments.
Did anybody have a
we're
resolution
gonna
that's not on the list?
we're gonna share
I'm actually
with
kind of
people.
curious about that.
Okay, this list came from Forbes, and it's more like career oriented. Like what would be like the 10 best New Year's resolution? I think it was coming from 2018 or 19, but like for your career, like resolutions for your career.
I'm going to say make more money.
Meh,
Is it on there? I'm
no,
kind of curious.
I don't think so.
Okay.
So stop being late. That will help your career. Stop being late if you're
If
always
you're
late.
late to work all the time, I think that should be
Yeah.
that shouldn't even be a resolution. That should be like, how are you still working there? I'm actually kind of curious, but anyway.
So the first sign of an organized, serious professional is punctuality.
Okay.
Organization. This is professionalism 101. It's always surprising how many people do not follow this advice. Stay organized. But I have to say it's a little bit hard one for if I would have to choose ones, probably would buy my desk like at the office, kind of like a war zone, I think. So meet new people. Professionally, I guess like meeting new people probably would be helpful. This one is a good one for me too. Ask for feedback. Like how many times like I've been told like I should ask for feedback from your colleagues, feedback from your boss, your manager. Yeah, I think like
I'm kind of curious. Like
not
I
often
wanted to
enough.
get into like the psychological part of this because I feel like this list is
But it was a list. I wasn't sure like if it was more like the best resolution, maybe to keep your job or to be more appreciated at your job. I'm
well,
not sure.
I think the
But
interesting thing for me about any resolution, whether it's about work related stuff or just general goals that you might have for yourself in terms of improving your life, is how do you actually achieve them? How does someone, so what are the steps that you need to take to achieve your goals? And especially like in our community, we're often talking about weight loss. And even though I say it all the time, weight loss isn't the major point of eating a ketogenic lifestyle, but it's one of the benefits that you get. And the thing is, one of the things that I've noticed that people have a hard time with, and I wonder like how that's going to fit in, is that when you start to push for your goal, and then if anything takes you off target, people act like if everything is done. So, for example, I'm not losing weight this week, maybe for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden, they're no longer trying to lose weight. And I think one of the things that I'm curious about is people Really taking the time to understand whether it's work-related goal, whether it's a life-related goal, any goal, any resolution. And this is where, again, I go back to that word resolution, because if I resolve to do something, then it should happen, right? And it's interesting to me because if you look at like my hip issue, which is what got me into this world to begin with, I had a pain in my hip, and my goal was solve the pain in my hip. So I seriously, even though it didn't happen on the first, I was resolved in solving that pain in my hip. It wasn't the first thing, food, that I did. Well, I mean, food was involved. I shouldn't say that. But it was like a low-fat diet, eating really super, what I thought healthy at that point in time, and a lot of walking and exercise trying to make myself lose weight. Because my thought was, I'm too heavy, that's why my hips are hurting. But in the end, do you remember it was like 5 months? I lost 0 pounds. So I didn't give up though, right? Because my goal was solve the pain in my hip. All losing 0 pounds did was make me realize that wasn't the road to my success. You know, one of the things I'm hoping that we're going to get out of this conversation, for all the people who want to improve their lives, for all the people who want to set a goal for themselves that they actually achieve. If weight loss is the goal, that you actually achieve that weight loss. If better health is the goal, which is what I encourage you all to look for, focus on better health. If that's the goal, that you achieve that goal, is understanding that when you fall down, which is what happened to me in my first attempt at saving my hip, you get back up and you try something else. Eating low fat and walking a bunch and doing all kinds of exercise did not solve my hip problem in the long term. In the minute, yes, it did. When I walked, all the days that I walked, I could sit a little longer. But in actuality, it wasn't the right path. When I changed the carbohydrate intake, a month and a half, and my hip was fine. So we have to be willing to evaluate how our goal is going along and make adjustments as necessary.
So basically, you set a goal, and you have multiple. You start with a strategy or a way to attain it, and if it doesn't work, you just like readjust. That's what
Yeah,
you're saying.
It's so important to have the steps of how you're going to get to your goal, which is like what I'm trying to like interested to see, like, do they talk about the steps?
Yeah, nothing. That's like, this is more like just like a top 10 or, but like, you have a good point. Like, for sure, if your goal is to improve at work, your resolution could be to ask more for feedback. The next one I have is which one is it? Read more. If you want, like, one of the resolution you could have is to read more. If you want to like have a different position or a new job, for sure you have to improve your skills in other areas. So like, that's another.
I love that, because I feel like it again ties into our world, because I think one of the mistakes that we often make is that we get a piece of information, for example, eat 20 grams of carbs or less, and we take that little piece of information and then we run with it, and we don't stop and find out, okay, how does eating 20 grams of carbs or less per day actually help me? And when you then find out about inflammation, and then you find out about, so there's like so many different layers. I feel sometimes it would be great for us to be willing to read more, or watch more videos, or ask more questions, as you said. Like, all those little things that would apply to improving your workplace would also apply to improving anything in your life, right?
Totally. Get the information. The last one I have on that list is interesting, and I want to hear like more about it from you. Don't hold grudges. So
don't hold grudges.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I can see how
professionally,
at work,
like at work, for example.
So can you imagine at work someone beats you for a promotion, and then you're holding a grudge against them, and then like basically now your relationship with them isn't going well because they beat you for a promotion? How will that affect your progress at work? And I feel like it's the same thing here. I honestly feel like in our weight loss world, when someone loses weight, you sometimes see the jealousy of other people show itself. How many times have you been at an event where people are trying to feed you things that are off plan?
Yeah. Or people asking you if you're sick.
Or people
that one is like classic.
And it's like, I want
You
people
sick?
to Yeah, I think what I want people to also think about is that, if you, rather than see someone's progress and say, hey, how did you do that? Teach me, right? Rather than hold a grudge, learn from that person because obviously they did something. Maybe they just answered one question in the interview differently than you did. But if you, instead of being resentful of them for getting ahead, if you would talk to them about how their interview went versus yours, right? Instead of being resentful of me that I've been able to lose the weight or keep it off for a long time, ask me how am I interpreting the information differently? Then you might be interpreting the information that's making it easier for me versus you, or you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I think that's an interesting one.
Okay, before we get to some of the new year's resolution to try for 2020. So I have a little like 7 or 8. I have Chrissy Dancing that posted a comment.
Okay.
By the way, we're at 23 viewers. So hello, 23 people.
Wow.
Don't hesitate to post comments and share your resolution with us. My resolution is to take better care of myself with allowing only 50 carbs or less into my nutrition so I can move my body in a better fashion. I feel pain lately throughout my body and inflammation. So 50 grams or less, like, are we suggesting to go push it to 20?
Well, it depends. I don't know if she's doing 50 total because
Okay.
20
Right,
net is
true.
50 total. So if you're doing total, like that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah.
But at the same time, I will say that if you're doing 50 and you still have pain and inflammation, I might want to do a little less. One of the interesting things about the ketogenic lifestyle is that you do have some flexibility there. If you feel like you're still having inflammation, you can take things down a little bit. The other thing that I would suggest is paying attention to specific foods. For myself, I learned that nightshades really mess me up. For some reason, I can't eat any of the nightshades. So that's like potatoes, that's how do you call those things? Peppers, and like all the nightshades don't do well for me. I think sometimes oxalates too. Actually, I did notice more recently oxalates were having a negative impact on me as well. I
The
would
sources of oxalates, where do you find them?
oxalates are in
Almonds?
leafy
Leafy
greens,
green, okay.
in plant products.
Plants,
You'd have
okay.
to double check. Some plant products are not high in oxalates, and others are. For example, I know spinach is pretty high. Trying to think what almonds are very high in oxalates. So one of the things I would probably suggest is if you're having a hard time, I would take my carbs down a little bit if you're doing net and you're doing 50, but I would also just be careful of my oxalates. Try to get them low, be as low as I can in them. There's what's her name? Sally Norton. She has a website, sallyknorton.com. I think that's right. If you go there, you can learn about oxalates, and I really do feel like it might be worth looking into if you're having a lot of pain and you've been doing keto for a while.
Okay. Kim Call, let's go with I have 2 comments. We can
Okay.
I want to get a grip on emotional eating to stop using food to fill a void.
Okay.
So
I mean,
resolution, it's a good resolution.
it is a good resolution,
Is it
and I think
but-
what the number one thing I would say, in order to address that, would be, what you're telling me is you already know that you use food to solve emotional stuff, and the question is, how is it solving it? And the truth is, it really isn't, right? Like, so when I eat something, do I get a feeling of good for a few seconds? Of course I did, but did it actually solve the problem? No, it didn't. What I would suggest instead is, because you're doing it, that's the part of this that's interesting, is that what I would really suggest instead is, when you're feeling emotional, allow yourself to pay attention to what emotion is it, and then address that emotion with the person or the thing, right? Because either that between you and something, mess something up, thinking to myself, video game yesterday, or between you and somebody else, that you had a bad interaction with them, and you need to have a conversation with that person and seriously address it directly. One of the things that I will say is that a lot of people don't address the problem directly because they don't think they're going to get the answer that they want. And what I'm here to tell you is, whatever answer you get is the answer. Then it's up to you to figure out, what am I doing with this piece of information? It's hard because I think in my office, one of the things I try to help people to understand is that if someone hears that they're hurting you and their answer is, so what? They just told you something about the relationship they have with you. And you need to now be honest and sincere with yourself. Does this person still deserve all the care that I'm giving them if their answer to me when I get hurt is so what? And that's a hard question to answer, and that's why we oftentimes avoid it and look at food. If we allow ourselves to look at the problem and then deal with the problem, how do things look different, right? So that's what I would suggest for any time that anyone is trying to solve an emotional problem. Look it straight in the face, name it, and then address it. Whether it's angry, whether it's insulted, whether it's scared, whether it's sad, whether it's frustrated, whether it's jealous, you have to look it straight in the face and answer it.
Yesterday video game was frustrated.
Frustrated.
Okay.
The answer was take a break, actually.
Rhonda Anderson, hi. Our
Rhonda.
pleasure. She's thanking us for sharing the knowledge. Mary W. Okay, another goal. A goal is to go beyond understanding and agreeing. And okay, hold on a second. My goal is to go beyond understanding and agreeing, and now learn to be articulate about the things I learned in 2019. I want to be able to speak knowledgeably about cholesterol in particular.
So you want to share your information. So you've learned some important things and you want to share it with others. That's cool. I encourage that for everybody. Let's share more information about health. Not even just keto. I think we need to share more information about health. It's part of the reason we started this off talking about just goals in general. We need to start sharing what we know with other people so that people can apply things and do better in life. Everybody.
Okay, let's go through some of the what do we want to try for 2020? For example, I have a list of some resolutions that and maybe like comment on them. So focus on a passion, not the way you look. I think that's a good one. Like try
Focus
something
on a passion.
or if you don't have a passion, find a passion maybe first.
So not the way you
something
look. I'm interested in the part where it added not the way you
Not
look.
the way you look,
So here's the
yeah.
thing I would say about that. I think that we're so often judging ourselves based on what other people think of us rather than what we think of ourselves, that when we are trying to improve how we look, so now I'm talking about improve how I look to me, right? My eyes. If I'm focused on what you want to see me look like, I'm not going to be happy with my results, right? You know, what's again, I'll share a little bit of information about me. I used to be that girl who was dressing up all the time, right? Wearing heels. And you know what? The truth is, I'm that girl that likes to use power tools. I'm that girl that likes to longboard. I'm that girl that likes to walk around in like track suit stuff and like, look at how I dress for these videos. Like, so when I decided to start dressing for me, all of a sudden, like it was so much easier for me to be pleasing looking to myself. And the truth is if you don't like it, don't look at me. Right? So I'm answering the second part first. I'm answering the second part first because I feel like I want everybody, you need to be comfortable with your look and do your look for you. That's part one. And the first part of it was focus on your passion. And of course, I mean, it's very cool to have something in life that you love to do. And I have so many things that I love to do that I can't even imagine not having something. What do you guys love to do? Actually, put it in the I would love to know what you guys love to do. Me, it's like every summer I'm on my longboard and my garage is a workshop. And every winter I'm snowboarding or skiing.
We have a thing about like on electric
Being
vehicles, but the electric vehicles too, electric bikes.
Okay,
electric
I'm actually
boards,
I feel like you're more into the electric vehicles than I am. I
you
thought
got
I
into
was
that.
I thought I was going to be more into it, but then it turned out you were more into it than me. Like I do have an electric skateboard and I do have an electric bike, but I feel like you ride your electric bike
both-
more than
both,
me
yeah.
and you ride your electric scooter more than
Yeah, a
me.
little bit more,
I
yeah.
have a real like a push scooter that I ride. So it's like I feel like I'm more into the like just me powered, where you're a bit more into the electric power. But that's fine. I mean, I think the thing is we both like being outside.
Okay. Another good one, actually, I didn't even see it before that video. Work out to feel good, not be thinner.
Oh
What do you
my
say
gosh,
about
I
that?
absolutely agree with that. Do you realize that for women, the more muscle you have on your body, the longer you live and the healthier you feel? And that's so not about look, right? That's just, we are meant to chase and and like we're meant to hunt for food. And it's so funny how we don't do that anymore, and we've like so moved away from it. But the truth is, that's what our bodies were meant to do. Now, of course, men seem to have more of that go out and hunt body type than the women do. But the truth is, if you were out hunting and there was a rabbit there, like I probably would try to catch it, right? Like it'd just be normal that back in the day, that's what would have happened. So, we wouldn't have been scared. Oh my God, a rabbit, right? We would have been actually going after it. So yeah, I do think that working out for like feeling good and like use of body is so much more important than, I mean, it's nice to look good. I'm not going to say it's not nice to look good. But is that the ultimate goal? No, I think it's more about being strong and healthy and being able to play with your kids, play with your grandkids, right? Like snowboard, ski,
Okay.
longboard.
I have okay, Pamela after 50. Hi there, Happy New Year, Pamela.
Happy New Year.
I slowly transitioned to keto. I work night shift and I do a little bit of fasting. It works for me. What do you suggest for a better breakfast items to eat? Okay, we're gonna go maybe with questions about keto a little bit later. We finish our.
Oh,
Or you?
I don't mind.
Okay. Okay, yeah, and
So what-
Rhonda, I'm not forgetting about you. You have a question. Just want to go through that list before we tackle those questions. Okay, one, stop gossiping. It's one of the of 2020 suggestions. I think it's probably never a good idea.
I agree
gossiping.
with not
So,
gossiping. Okay.
give one compliment a day. Why not? Like,
You know what?
I think-
Every opportunity you have to make somebody else feel good, why wouldn't you take it?
Yeah.
Right? Like I know I like when I get compliments, although I'm not sure if I'm good at accepting them, but I like they feel good. I'm not sure what, like sometimes I don't know what to say. But it's nice to make other people feel good. So yes, I would agree with both of those things. I think those are
Yeah.
nice things.
oh, that's a nice one. Go a whole day without checking your email. So,
Actually,
like,
I got
leave your
really far
phones.
into today
Yeah.
without going on social media actually. So yeah, I think when you're on vacation, it's nice because then you realize like how much you don't need to be on that stuff. Now, obviously for work, I have to check my emails and whatever. Like I don't have
Yeah.
the luxury of not checking my stuff. But yeah, no, for sure. I
But,
think I would love to see. So, okay, there's pluses and minuses. I do think our young people do a lot of their socializing through their devices. And so I feel like it's a little bit different just because their mentality is different. But I do love like when we're all together and we're playing games and we're outside and we're having fun and like we're not really focused on our phones. Like that's part for me like some of the best times in the summer when we go like for rides and stuff. Like so I agree with that. Absolutely.
And they can do it. I have friends like they created like no phone boxes where they do society games, and at the beginning of the evening, like every kid, teen,
Everybody.
parents put
Okay.
their phone in the box, so there's like no phone, so it's doable, and I think like it's a good thing too. Read a book. Go someplace. Don't go someplace you've never been. Why not discover like we're from
I'm
Montreal.
so not a
and-
traveler. I'm sorry.
No, but just even if you stay local, like we're from Montreal, how many neighborhoods of Montreal we don't even know, we've never
Actually, that's not
visited?
true for me because
Like,
I've been in all
but-
over Montreal, but
Oh yeah,
that's
but
for
you're
work.
free, yeah,
But yeah,
But-
like I'm not a
or
big
even a
traveler.
little bit out of Montreal.
Yeah.
But like yeah,
I like my home. I really do, and I like my city. But not to say that I would never travel, because I do think I would travel. But I do like being home. There's something just I like that we live in a place where we can do all the activities that we like doing. I love that we have festivals and things like that. However, I'm not going to say I wouldn't travel, but it's not a big goal of mine per se.
And maybe one last of interest, read a book. I've like lately in the past months I've started reading a little bit. It's a hard thing to do because like all that those videos and TV and
Yeah.
tablets, and so but it's hard to read a book. But like I do find it interesting. So get back to reading.
It's
Okay.
nice to have quiet time with yourself.
Yeah, it's true.
And regardless of what you're doing, whether you're reading a book, whether you're learning in a different manner, because not everybody learns through reading. So I mean, I do agree with reading, absolutely. But I also understand not everybody learns through reading. There are a lot of people that learn through doing. There are a lot of people who learn through watching, and so I think that's why YouTube videos help so many people. So I would change that from read a book to learn more.
Learn more. Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
So we have some comments you want to
Yeah,
look
yeah,
at?
yeah. So Pamela, after 50, I started the comment. Um, so late, okay, night shift. So obviously, if she works night shift, she get home after a shift, like it's the morning.
Yep.
I think she's wondering about breakfast. Like you just correct me, Pamela, if I'm wrong. So what do you suggest for a better breakfast item to eat? So
Better
I
than what?
guess
I guess the
after.
question is what? Better than what?
Yeah.
Like, is it because you don't want to have eggs?
Mm,
I'll be honest with you. I don't look at food that way anymore. So just to start there,
yeah.
I don't care about breakfast, lunch, dinner because I eat once a day.
Yeah.
So whether I'll be very sincerely honest with you. If my first meal was going to be in the morning, I'd probably still have a pork chop or a piece of
Yeah,
chicken, or
that's what I was like about to say. A
because
steak.
like that's what I want to eat. I try to make sure whatever it is that I'm actually going to eat is enough to fuel me until the next meal.
Although,
And again,
yeah.
because I eat once a day,
The only thing maybe we can like you can help us understand if you get like if you get to bed right after work once you get home, or you have like a few hours like
for
your
Pamela.
evening in the morning,
You're asking
like
for Pamela if she's
yeah.
getting to bed right away?
So
Yeah. I mean, but
but
I don't even know if that matters to me. Like
but
seriously,
eggs,
I
avocado,
would.
salad.
So just to back up a minute, because sometimes I do have eggs for supper, for meal, like whatever, for
Mm.
my meal. I eat whatever I feel like eating. A lot of people have asked me to do, what I eat in a day videos, and I said it's gonna be so boring because I eat once, and I eat whatever I feel like eating.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's not that varied. I eat a piece of meat and a salad, a piece of meat
Vegetable.
and a vegetable, or a set of vegetables, or some eggs and in some kind of fashion. It's not that fancy. Maybe once in a blue moon I'll make a keto pizza, but that doesn't
Yeah.
even happen that often. I'm encouraging you, Pamela. Pamela, I'm encouraging you eat whatever you feel like eating. It doesn't have to be breakfast, quote unquote. Like this is your meal after you've been up all night. So
Make sure
yeah.
you have all the good food too. Like sometimes if I don't have my kids, I get home after work, I don't feel like cooking. Like I just honestly takes me 5 minutes. I throw a few tomatoes, an avocado, a piece of cheese, some nuts, and like you have what you need in a meal. Like with the good amount, like for sure, if I have a piece of meat, that's even better. But like,
I
yeah,
think the important thing
eggs,
is like,
like you said.
especially if you're new, because you said you're transitioning, if I understood
Yeah.
correctly, transitioning into keto. If you're new, the other piece of the puzzle I would suggest is track at the beginning.
Mm.
Like I think for myself, I track for the first year and a little bit, because it's important to know that I'm getting all my micronutrients. It's important to know that I'm getting enough energy. Like you want to make sure everything is balanced. It's hard to do this at the beginning without somehow tracking what you're doing, to really know that you're hitting everything, especially when you're talking about potassium and enough sodium and enough calcium, and right, you want to make sure you're getting enough of all the minerals that's going to help you to stay in that, I guess, sweet spot of like balance, right? So I would also suggest that I think as long as when you track whatever it is you decide to eat, that it's looking good in the tracker, so everything is coming up to near the percentages you need. By the way, calcium, there's a bit of a debate whether we need 1,000 or 500, but at the end of the day, if you're getting more than 500, you're probably going to be good to go. I would just make sure that everything is falling in a good range.
Okay, Rhonda. Okay, Rhonda is wondering if going in and out of ketosis destroys your metabolism, like typical dieting.
Any kind
Yeah,
of yo-yo
it's
dieting
yo-yo
is
dieting.
yo-yo dieting. But what's even more distressing for me of people going in and out of keto, once you've allowed yourself to eat fat and you're not afraid of it anymore, bringing those sugars back, most people don't drop the fat down. So now we're eating high fat,
And I sugar.
high sugar, and what is that? That's the worst version of the standard American diet, right? You don't want to do that to yourself. So if you're not sure that you can live a ketogenic lifestyle, it's better for you to just do your research, really be prepared before you start, take your time.
Yeah.
Honestly, like a week or 2 weeks of planning it properly and knowing that I can commit, 2 weeks is probably not going to change your health as much as jumping in and out will,
Yeah.
right? Because I think that most of the time, this is my observation, most of the time people jump in and out because when they started, they didn't plan it well. Their carbohydrates were not low enough, so they still have that chase happening of carbs. And if you're still chasing carbs, like honestly, I can sincerely sit here and tell you that after month number 1, I have not chased carbs since, because my carbs are just that low all the time, right? So you need to plan it properly. And I think that even the average person, so and I'm talking the average person that can do 20 and stay in ketosis, if you plan it properly, 6 months in, you're not going to be chasing carbs. But if you didn't plan it properly and we do cheat days and we allow extra carbs in, and like before you're super, super stable, again, I'm going to be 2 years in April, and I still don't consider myself super stable, right? It takes 7 years to rebuild a body, like to say that it seems like everything would be new. So I don't believe that I'm going to be super stable till I hit my 7-year mark. Like, I always like to err on the side of caution and do everything that I can do to put my body at the best possible chance of success. We just get one.
And needless to say, if you're a little bit more sensitive to the keto flu or the switching, that's going to be like
Yeah.
crazy for you, like feeling all the symptoms. Like, but some
Seriously?
people, like maybe some people like feel
Feel it more
it
than
harder like than others. So
I
just,
can
like,
tell you.
be, like, yeah.
Sorry, I could tell you that when I did the first flu, which of course now we know it's just withdrawal symptoms, but when I did my first set of withdrawal symptoms, like that was enough to make me say I don't want to do that again. that was really hard. Like
Yeah.
to do that twice,
Yeah.
like that was not fun for me at all.
Okay, Colorful Keto with Dory. I'm excited to catch you live. Hi. Hi, Colorful.
I'm happy to see you here. Did you have a question?
No, just like
Oh, I'm so happy that you came by.
Okay, Chrissy, I wish they had love signs on YouTube so we can hit love with all the awesome comments you're making. My plan is to be closer to God and read the Bible every day.
Okay.
Like, okay, good. Leroy Hudson. How do I? Okay, Leroy. Okay, a good question. How do I break this sugar craving addiction? Goodness, I'm going on months. Okay, is there a cavalcade of food suggestions, supplements I could eat to stem if till my addiction subsides? Let me just increase my brightness
Okay,
a
so
little bit here.
I wanna answer to Chrissy. Was it Chrissy?
No, that's Leroy. Leroy Hudson.
No. The first before
the
that?
the first one, the love signs on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was Chrissy?
yeah, Chrissy.
You said one of your goals was to be closer to God, and one of the things I remember from church was that when you take care of your body, that's a part of being closer to God. So you're already on your way.
Yeah, cool.
So for Leroy,
Leroy,
what
yeah.
I would say is this: if you do any fasting, that's your first bet, safe bet to start something. Because what I would do if I was in your situation, if you do any fasting at all, like let's say 24 to 48 hours, if you're able to do that, I would fast. And I would plan my next 2 weeks. So before I do my fast, I would plan my next 2 weeks of food. I would do the fast. And then when I come back to my actually, let's do 24 hours. It's easier to rebound from a 24-hour fast. I would do my 24-hour fast. And then I would go into it eating low carb for 2 straight weeks. One of the things that
Low carb or keto?
Sorry, keto.
Like keto,
I'm sorry.
20 gram. Like,
20,
just make sure.
The 20 grams. I'm
okay.
sorry. I'm so used to interchanging those words. I would do my 20 grams or less for the 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what you're going to notice. And it's going to help you to figure out, like, why is it that you might be having an issue? Because if you do your 20 grams or carbs or less for 2 weeks straight after doing that 24-hour, because when you do the 24-hour, you are going to be in ketosis. If you're doing any version of a keto lifestyle, you're going to hopefully get back in. It can take some people 3 days, but doing that 24-hour fast to get yourself kick-started, you should probably be back in it like within the next day. Then, in that 2 weeks, if you still feel like you're chasing carbs, I would take it down to 15. Yeah. You don't, this is like, it's something that you can play with a little bit. The thing is, once you feel like you're no longer chasing carbs, you can go back to 20 and see if now you're, like, some people need to be at 15.
Yeah.
Some people need to be at 10.
But if I may add something, use a phone app and log everything.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not that low carb as you
As you
think you
think you
are,
are.
and you still like that's why you're still chasing the carbs.
Yeah, you might be over and not
Just make
realize.
sure that like if you drink milk, like we've seen like the milk is a source of people like think is healthy, but like it's rather high in sugar. So log everything. Like some vegetables are in carbs. It's not because it's a vegetable that it's
I'll
necessarily
tell
like
you a sneaky one.
keto-friendly.
Onions.
Onions, yeah.
Onions throw people off
Mhm.
because they don't realize, because of the way they taste, they don't realize how sweet they are. I mean,
They're
even
carby,
if
yeah.
it's in a salad, like, like you need to really log everything.
Just
Like
to
I said,
get a good idea.
at the beginning, we weighed all of our food. I know I weighed my
Mm.
food for the first year. I was logging and weighing everything. Again, when you get like this far in, like what I am now, I don't have to anymore. I know how much I can put of whatever. But I'm also one of those people that I'm so sensitive to most of the high sweet things. I just don't eat them. Like I haven't had onions and I don't know how long. I haven't had bell peppers or so you. I would really. I like that one. Weigh everything,
Anyway,
track
yeah,
everything. So 24 hours, 2 weeks straight. Plan your meals,
yeah.
track everything, and then at the end of the 2 weeks, if you still feel like you're chasing, I would go down to 15.
Mm.
You know, at the end of this, when you really become fat adapted and everything is working well and like your health improves and whatever, you're going to know if you can get back to 20 or not,
Mhm.
right? Now, I know, like for me, I know I can't pass 20. I've already played that game a little bit to see what would happen if I tried to get like 25. Doesn't work for me. I have to be at 20 or less. Everybody's different, right? But 20 seems to be a good number for me,
Mm.
right? Like everybody has to figure out what their number is going to be. And I do know for sure it depends on what I'm eating too. If I could be under 20 and if I eat any piece of potato, I'm done. And I could have 5 grams of potato, nothing else for the day, I'm done. So it is I'm saying 5 grams of carbs worth of potato
Mm.
and I would be done. So
Yeah.
is there another
So
question? I feel like
push,
there's some.
like no, just push through it, and I know I totally understand where you're coming from because I was there. You just like push through it, and like at some point, like you're not gonna eat as much, and you're not gonna eat because it's fun to eat. You're gonna eat like your food is gonna taste good, but your signals that you had enough are way more clearer than if you eat like pasta, rice, and carbs and cereals. So if you have other question, like feel free to ask. Jane Perkins, Happy New Year. Violet
Happy
Pat,
New
Happy
Year.
New Year. Main camp. Stay away from synthetic sweeteners or any kind of sweetener. Yeah,
Yeah.
be careful with those. They can spike your insulin. They
So,
can have the same effect.
Leroy, that could be another thing that's happening.
Oh yeah,
If you're allowing yourself to drink diet sodas, or if you're allowing
coffee
yourself
with
to eat keto snacks,
mm,
especially if it's in between meals, that could be pushing your chase of carbs because
true.
your
Good point.
brain can't tell the difference between artificial sweet and true sweet. And so when you have, especially if it's not in a meal. So what I mean by that is if I ate, like I can drink soda with my meal, so diet soda with my meal,
Mm.
because, and I'm not saying diet soda is good. I'm just saying if I drink it,
Yeah.
I drink it with a meal because I'm eating carbs. So my brain is getting sweet, but my body's getting carbs. There are carbs to put away. But when you do it between
Mm.
meals, oh my gosh, does it
Can
push me to be hungry?
it
And to be
triggers you?
chasing,
Mm.
like, I mean, I don't chase the sweet, but like I feel hungry and I feel like I want to eat. And it took me a little while at the very beginning. It took me a little while to figure out what was happening there. But once you know that that's what's happening, that's another thing that you should be looking out for.
Mm.
Any other comments that are?
Socrates, hello, did I miss much? No, we're here. So you didn't miss much.
You can always watch the replay.
Um, okay, main camp, did you punch me?
Huh?
She just, main camp, she just punched him, but it didn't hurt, so I guess.
Did I punch you?
If you punched me,
No, I didn't punch him. That's funny though. Did it look like I punched him?
I don't know. I didn't feel it, so that's good. Okay, so
It's like
I
we're
think we're
fighting
good.
on
Like,
screen
yeah,
now.
we're like good with the comments. Okay, so all the examples of the resolutions we just saw were very general stuff.
Uh-huh.
Like my next segment is how to be successful with the resolution.
Okay.
Like I can have a resolution for 2020 to be happier.
Yes.
Like what's gonna happen with that resolution?
So I love resolutions of I want to be happier. But at the same time, I find they're the trickiest resolutions to accomplish because, and I'm saying resolution, goal, for me, it's all the same. It's like when I say I'm going to be happier in life, but then I don't determine what's causing me to be unhappy right now or what will cause me to be happy in the future, then that goal becomes unattainable. And all it will actually do is make me feel worse. Because, so this is what's unfortunately tricky about goals. If I set myself a goal and then I start to try to accomplish, and then I don't complete, and I let the goal drop without any kind of interaction with the goal, I'm going to feel like a failure. And what happens when we feel like a failure? We're not happy, right? So unfortunately, if you at all decide to make yourself a goal of improving anything in life, the number one thing I would say to all of you is break it down into smaller steps. So I call them mini goals. You can call them whatever you want to call them. But like I take my overall, I want to be happier. And okay, so what's going to make me happier? Well, maybe spending more time with my friends. Maybe getting more time in the workshop. Maybe going skiing more often. Right? Like I operationalize it. And I like, because the truth is that until I know what the little bits and pieces of the puzzle are, I don't even know what I'm aiming at. Right? But what else is good about that? So again, going back to my scenario, when I thought my hip issue was like excess weight and I was focusing on losing weight, well, first of all, I didn't lose any weight. But even if I would have lost weight, the funny thing is I still would have not felt better because the problem wasn't weight. It was carbs, right? So the good thing about making those little like, okay, I'm going to spend more time with friends and I'm going to do, is because if you're spending more time with friends and you're spending more time in the workshop and you're like, if you're doing all those things and you're still not happy, you might figure out that's not where my happiness is going to come from. And all of a sudden you might be in the situation of realizing, you know what? What actually makes me the most happy is when I'm playing with my kids. And all of a sudden, like you realize that these things that I was holding up as the grand whatever of being happy, that wasn't it. But you can't know that unless you actually like label things and then actually action them, right? Because it wasn't until I understood that, first of all, I wasn't going to lose weight that way, but second of all, that wasn't the, like when I changed it over to inflammation, because I saw that, well, exercising helped me. And when I did more research and found out that sounded like an inflammation thing, and then I tackled inflammation, what happened? My hip felt better in a month and a half, and I hadn't actually lost all the weight. I had lost maybe 8 pounds. A month and a half later, 8 pounds is not enough to have been the reason for that. So, yay.
So what I want to add to that, like, is like you need maybe pick one thing you want to change about yourself. You want to, and then like you just said, like create like sub goals or mini goals and make them smart. I don't know if you know like about that, but just like I just did find the definition or a thing on the web. Like how do I define a goal? First, consider what you want to achieve. So our resolution, and then commit to it. You were talking about commitment and focus. Like earlier before, maybe we can add after that. Set smart. I'm gonna come back. So set smart goals to motivate you and write them down to make them feel tangible. Then plan the steps you must make to realize your goal. So you have a vision, you know where we're gonna go. You set goals, and then you define a strategy. The goals need to be smart, and that's like I do feel the important thing. They need like to be specific. They need to be measurable. They need to be attainable, relevant, and time bounded. So specific. It needs to be like something you wanna achieve, like something specific. I want to lose, let's say 20 pounds. Measurable, like you have the scale to along your journey to be able to measure your progress. They need to be attainable. If you want to lose maybe 350 pounds and you weigh 380 pounds, like that doesn't make sense. Like they need to be attainable. You need to be able to get to your goal. They need to be relevant with what, like your vision, with what you're trying to accomplish, and they need to be time bounded too. So to be able to see, if you, for example, you say you want to lose 20 pounds, you need to like to say in the next 6 months. But if you want to lose 20 pounds in the next week, that's not.
But it also doesn't necessarily have to be 6 months. I think the thing that I like about
it has to be time bounded, like put
I
like
think okay, so
a time
I'm
on that.
has to be I'm gonna argue with there.
Mm.
I think it's smart to have some kind of time relevance to it, just so you can track
Hmm.
yourself. Because if I say I want to be happy and I don't have like an idea of, see, like if I want to be
But
happy, that's forever. So like,
no,
but like
what?
I'm just saying like I like the idea of there being some kind of a time frame, but at the same time I like the idea that everything that I'm planning can be changed.
Yeah,
Right? So
but
like I like the fact that it's like the S was specific,
hmm
because again, the overarching I want to be happy doesn't ever change, but the under goals can change.
hmm
And so and they need to so that's the part that's kind of
but
tricky. They need sometimes they need to
yeah,
change.
no. But for example, like if your overarching goal is be happy, like this, for me that's that's the big picture, the
Hmm.
big goal. But let's say like you
The
for
mini goals.
that
Hmm.
the mini goals, you want to spend more time with your kids.
Hmm.
Okay, so set your goal. Like I want to play at least half an hour per day with my
Hmm.
kids for the next year. Like that meets all the criteria, and you can measure it. It's specific, like it's half an hour, it's time bound.
Hmm.
So that's my for sure, like the overarching goal. Like they're hard to be smart, but all your sub goals, like they benefit
Yeah.
with being smart because you can track them and measure them.
But I also like I just
So
adding to that, like I like the fact that when you do that, if something isn't working, you can
you can
change it.
change it. Yeah,
Because
sure.
to me, like all of that's great, but the flip side of the coin that I would like to help people to understand is if I set myself this goal and I say for the next year I'm doing this, but 3 months in I realize it's not helping me to be happy, change it. Don't go for a year thinking that, oh, I have to make the year to, no. You can tell if something is helping or not helping,
Hmm.
right? Like it didn't take me a year when I was realizing that I did 4 months, I lost 0 pounds, my hip was still, like, I changed it. So, like, you also need to be smart in how you
Hmm.
do smart because you need to pay attention to what's working, what's not working, make adjustments as you go along. I feel like the most successful people understand that the first iteration of whatever it is that you're doing is probably not going to be the final iteration. So you're going to start off saying, I want to play with my kids for half an hour, da, 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 but you might end up doing an hour instead of half an hour, or you might doing 15 minutes because your kids are really young and you can't play that game for more than half an hour. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to be able to do it in a way that makes sense for the situation that you happen to be in, right? If you got 15-year-old kids, you might be in there spending 3 hours with them every day, right? Because they're at that age range where that could be really cool. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
like
yeah.
make sure that you're paying attention to the whole picture too.
Yeah. I just had a flash with like a class I had this year, and it was like it's a simple graph that's so revealing, and that can help people with that too. It's like three circles.
Hmm.
The one in the middle is your zone of power, like the things that in your life you have direct power of them, and you have like a little outside circle is your zone of influence. So things you have not direct power, but you can influence to get
Hmm.
your goal.
Hmm.
And then there's that little third outside circle, the zone of
That you
preoccupation
don't have
that
any power.
like just honestly like at work I just like put the three circles on a piece of paper and put everything that was happening and all the stuff that was in my zone of like preoccupation. I was like, wow, I'm paying way too much attention to that.
And there was things
So
that were not able to be changed by you.
yeah, because like I had absolutely no control over them.
Okay.
So when you set your goal, like stick to your zone of
What
power too. What you have a direct power slash influence.
So going back to what I said earlier about emotional eating, because I feel like now that's relevant. What
Hmm.
I said before is that when it comes to emotional eating and it comes to, so something happens in my life, the one thing that I want everyone to understand is that in that zone of influence, so the actual thing I have control over is me,
Yeah.
just me. The outer ring, it is that I have influence on is the person or the thing I'm interacting with. I have influence, but I have zero control.
Control.
And then the outside, right? The most outside ring is life in general,
Hmm.
right? Like there's going to be so much stuff happening all the time that you have absolutely no ability to change
Hmm.
to like, and you have to accept that, right? But if I know that I control me, at the end of the day, I can still be happy, right? Because I can still make choices that help Violet to be happy.
So what's your resolution for 2020? Do you have one? Did you make one?
I don't make resolutions. So, like in terms of large scale resolutions, because I'm always making goals and changing goals as I go forward.
Mhm.
For this channel, I'm looking forward to making more videos. And I'm looking forward to talking to everyone, and like I'm looking forward to getting out more feedback. I think that's what I'm most looking forward. Like, what kind of videos do you guys, or what kind of information do you want to hear me talk about? So I'm looking forward to that. But in terms of like making specific resolutions, so here's my other piece of the puzzle. Like I said to you, words matter to me. When I resolve to do something, it's because I know it's going to happen, right? I'm going to make it happen one way or the other. So I don't take making a resolution lightly. When I talked about fixing my hip, it was a resolution because I knew I was willing to go as far as having surgery. Like, I was willing to do that because this needed to change. But there's other things in life that I like to see different, and I make those goals because I'd like to see them different, but I don't know like how long, what chemin I'm going to take to make them better, or So they're goals for sure. But am I resolved that it's going to happen in a short period of time? No. So I'm more looking at some point in my life, I'd like to see this, and this happen.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
I have
Goals?
too much influence on you because you said Shemaine.
What about yourself? Goals?
Goals for me, not really. Like, if maybe I have one resolutions to make more live with you, maybe in 2020. No, but like, yeah, I'm a bit like you. I don't really do resolution because like those big pictures are usually always like failures. But like with the information we
I
got
wouldn't say they're
here,
failures.
no, but like
Because when I resolve something, it's
no,
going to
no, I
happen.
know of you, but like from what I remember, like in the past, it was more like okay, I'm gonna lose weight, I'm gonna exercise more, like the example I just like mentioned before.
But those weren't resolutions then.
Yeah, they're like
See,
kind
that's
of,
okay. That's what I find frustrating about New Year's resolutions. People say things, but they're not
they're
resolutions.
yeah,
They're just saying things. Oh, this year I'm going to, because it sounds like the right thing
Yeah.
to do at this point in time, but you're not really resolving to do it, because if you did, you'd do it.
yeah.
Right? That's what a resolution is.
Yeah. Come on, people! Like, just share your New Year's resolution. We have main camp. Your God? No, I don't think so. But like, thank you.
What?
Main that's telling us that we're God.
Okay.
We just bring good information on the table, so you're better informed. Lena Aris, hello, Lena. Happy New Year.
Hi. Happy New Year.
And so far, that's what we have. Let's go share your
Okay.
stories. Like, comment.
Okay. So, was there anything else that you wanted to put out there?
Don't think so. I covered pretty much
Okay.
everything. Yeah,
Well, this was really fun.
yeah, it is. It was.
And if there's no more comments, I guess.
We can wait like
So,
2 minutes.
I want to thank you. You want to wait a few minutes? Well,
Uh,
I'm actually feeling like probably the questions got asked and answered.
yeah, true.
So,
It was fun.
I would really love for you guys to let me know. You can do it in the comments of this video after
Yeah.
we've gone from being live. But I would really love for you guys to let me know what other things you would like to hear me talk about related to health. And so related to keto, obviously, but also health in general, like in terms of like how to be mentally, psychologically healthy. I don't mind talking about that as well. If there's other questions you guys have, obviously being a psychologist, I like talking about those things. So I want to thank everybody for watching Mind-Blowing Health and Wellness with Pat,
Live
with
Pat
Violet.
Chat.
So-
Live Pat Chat edition.
A live Pat Chat edition. And I'm so happy that on our 100th episode, at one point I saw there was like 30 people in
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
which is wicked cool. I'm very happy that on our 100th episode, we had so many people pop by to say hello and just to chat with us, which is like amazing to me.
Yeah, super fun.
8,700 plus subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
Again, super cool. This has been an amazing year on YouTube. I'm speechless. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm everything. I'm looking forward to next year because all my wellness warriors, you guys are like make me coming here and talking so much fun. And even though like lives are a little stressful, but I love talking to you guys.
Sorry, not that bad.
And I don't have the editing going on, but I love talking to you guys, and I really just can't wait. And I've just got some hearts on the screen. I don't know if that's a comment that you want to read.
Just caught you. Will we? Oh, okay. Will we play? Yeah, I do. She just got joined us. It's like that's sing it. Just
Hi,
caught you. Will we play? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Like, I'm so happy that you got to hear me say goodbye.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love making these videos for you guys. We love making these videos for you guys. And if we can do more lives, we're going to try to. Thanks for watching Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet. Pat Chat Edition, 100th episode. Super cool.
See you next time.
Can't wait to see you guys next time.
Bye.